Hey. You all know what the vibes are. This is the mid-season roundup. This time, episode is with some great people that I've met through in social media. Uh, Somehow ended up following each other. They are a duo podcast, which I really don't understand how people can do these because I would just be like yelling at my pod bro all the time that way. I'm with Jonny, and it is the ANJ podcast.
Yeah,
Yes,
the
the
AJ
ANJ
podcast,
podcast,
yeah.
and welcome Jonny, Shady Gang. Please make them feel welcomed. Yes.
Thank
Yes.
you,
Great.
thank you.
Great. All right, guys, you can relax. All right, cool. How's it going, Jonny?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Thanks for having me on. Thanks for giving me a shout
Of
to
course.
talk a bit of rubbish about Liverpool.
Yeah. Hey, honestly, when it comes to having guests on, this isn't the platform, the show format where I really get at you guys. It's this is like fun. There are other formats, maybe if it's like the pre-match show or like Breaking Bread or the lit stream that we do, which is like a nightly live show, that kind of gets a little like ornery. But no, here is welcome. You talk up your team as well. I'll ask questions. It's gonna be light. It'll be good. It'll be good.
Yeah, sounds good. Sorry about if my voice is about bit croaky.
Oh,
Still getting back from the match from Sunday,
oh,
so.
nice. No, that was great. I mean, other than how it ended, how was the match experience at least?
Well, so I've shared season ticket with my brother and my dad. So lucky enough to go like basically all the home games. So yeah, so I was looking forward to Sunday a lot more than what I left with. But it was good. It was good. Yeah, my voice is from all the shouting and stuff like that. But no, yeah, I'm getting there. I'm obviously got this Saturday to come,
Yeah,
but
you gotta rest the voice
hopefully a big
somewhat.
win.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
it'll probably fix up on Saturday and then get worse again.
yeah, you'll be feeling brand new in the morning just to just shred the voice later that day. The Liverpool bunch, y'all are r- spirit, full of spirit, rambunctious.
Yeah, yeah.
Anfield is known for being a terrifying place to go to. Uh, I am looking. I'm happy because I've said on multiple occasions, I've had personal experience with another Scouser. He was here in the U.S. and it wasn't the best, especially once he found out I was a City fan. Like we basically just stared daggers at each other for a good like 5 seconds and then walked away from each other. So this is nice. It's like, okay, cool. I got this is like a good friendship, a camaraderie. As even though United is supposed to be our rivals, it's just like it's you guys. It's
Yeah,
Liverpool. You guys are the team that I dread playing, and I respect Klopp. And what you guys got going on with this little youth reboot, which we'll get into. It's kind of fun to see. It's fun to watch. It's good for the Premier League. Let's start
yeah, yeah.
with your place in the Premier League. You're sitting ahead of us, 2 spots in second. How are you feeling about halfway, basically halfway through the league season? You're sitting at second. I'd assume you're happy about it, yeah?
Yes, I'm very happy, obviously. Being honest, I thought it'd be between us and yourselves anyway this season. Um, Last season we were had a massive drop off, but I just felt like this season we was going to do a lot better. Arsenal are very good, and but I just don't know if they'll be able to keep up. Even like last season, I don't know if they'll be able to keep up. And I just thought if we can go back to close to where we were past few seasons, we'll be up there fighting against with yous. And I think that's what it's going to be like again. I know is it is it 6 points behind, or you could be 6 points behind before you next play with a game in hand. Well, obviously depending if we win and stuff
Yes.
like that on
Yep.
on
Yeah.
Saturday.
You'd
Um,
actually be seven
but
if you win.
that's
If you win, you'd be seven actually. Yeah.
oh well, there you go. But even then, that's still like City go on a like 14 win streak at the back end. So you know that basically come just after Christmas, after New Year,
Yeah.
you'll be up for it. So if we can, I think we'll be the ones to be able to battle it out. Like what we have the past few seasons. We've proved it really. We've taken yous and yous have taken us to the last game of the season. Like past 4 seasons of the last, like, since Klopp's been here and stuff. So yeah, it's gonna be. I'm very, very happy. A little bit disappointed in the fact that I felt we should have finished. We should be top at the end of last weekend,
Yeah.
because we were just saying, and United were there for the taking, and
Yeah.
that's the worst United team I've seen in years.
Yeah, they're not good.
But it happens. But then obviously we could go Saturday, beat Arsenal, and be top again. And obviously we've just got through to the semi-finals of the League Cup, so
yeah,
it's going very well.
that would be a great way to get on top. Also, taking the spot, beating who is in first at the moment. That would be great.
Yeah.
This will be, I guess, be my only slight. I am rooting for a draw just for the chaos. 1 point for each of
Oh
you.
yeah,
Can't really
yeah.
get ahead of us. Like that. That's the most slanderous I'll be in this episode. It's to give you the energy that I'll be for it. We can keep it moving because I would like to talk about the team in multiple facts. We're gonna dig deep into like specific players, but since I have you here, someone actually goes to the season, who's a part, season ticket owner.
Yeah.
This is a great time to really like pick your brain. Let's talk about the roster in general because you got rid of a lot of old with Fabinho, Henderson, Firmino, Keita, who just really couldn't figure out his thing. And like I said, these new dudes. Yes, Craven Birch recently got injured, which is a huge blow because I love watching him play. McAllister, SoB, guy.
So to be fair, I think everyone struggles to say his
Right.
name.
So and I practice it and I nail it, and then whenever I get in front of a mic, it's just like, "Huh." But yeah, just how are you feeling about the retool? Obviously, I'm sure there's more work to go. There's a rumor of Salah leaving you guys in the summer, but it will be with a hefty payment,
Yeah.
which will set you all up even better for the summer. Yeah, how are you feeling about the roster and the moves that they did over the summer?
It was a weird one because obviously at the summer it felt, obviously as the fans and stuff, we were told, well, we're going to have a massive rebuild, and then obviously you have all of the Jude Bellingham situation and
Yes.
stuff like that, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like, well, what's gonna happen? But and then obviously he went to Madrid. We were never going to pay that money. I think the thing for some fans was, like, including myself, was a bit like he was always over 100 mil, and then all of a sudden, closer to the time that he was going to Madrid, it came out that, like, the owners were like, they didn't realise how much he was going to be. It was like, he's been over 100 mil
Yeah, he's
for the past 2-3
in theory
seasons. It's
one
not
of the
new.
best English talents
Yeah.
to come out. He would cost. I understand that Liverpool as a club, they have kind of like their limits of what they spend money on.
Oh yeah,
But you
yeah.
would think Jude would be one of those people you would splash the money on.
Exactly. That's the way I've saw it. You've got to spend a bit, like, especially when we've been on top, we've not really made the most of it. So when we won the league and won the Champions League and stuff, when you look at those summer transfers, we didn't really, like, spend a bit to get someone else, if you get me. So, like, when you look over the years of when United dominated the they had they'd always buy someone else whenever they won it, even if it was like you don't need to. It's always there to get fresh legs, keep competition and stuff like that. Whereas we didn't really do that. And we've sloped a little bit. There was that COVID season when we just about scraped top four. We were crying out for defenders the whole time. We didn't get any until like the year after. And then we've been crying out for midfielders last season, and obviously we've now done that this season, which is, it's good to see. I think the only thing for me was like the holding midfielder situation in the end. Like, we got Endo, got rid of Fabinho, and got Endo, and it seemed like a weird replacement because we just
Yes,
replaced
it
the
did.
32-year-old for 31-year-old, and it seemed very, very last minute. But to be honest, he's slowly getting more into it. Gravenberch is looking quality the more he plays. Soboslai, or Dom, as we'll call him, because it's just easier
Smart. Dome.
to say.
That's smart.
He
Smart. Yeah.
he's quality. He's last few games he's been a bit off it, but to be honest, a lot of the players, like even Salah, past few games, obviously until today he's just scored 2, but past few games he's been a bit off it. So there's been loads of them, but he's like blew everyone's minds. Like didn't expect him to be as good as what he is straight away, and I think that's the thing as well. And McAllister again, like you said, unfortunately he's injured now, but he's slowly getting into that position of like the number 6, and on the ball he's quality as well.
Yeah.
So I am happy with it. I think we've got a good midfield there. Be nice maybe to get someone in January, maybe just as like another little backup, because it still is a bit thin, I think, for the competitions we're in.
Yeah. Yeah.
As in, if he was to compete for all of it, I feel confident. I feel confident with the squad we've got for the Prem and for the Europa League. Like I generally
Yes.
do
The
think
Europa League. Yeah,
I,
you'll be fine. No
I do
respect there.
think we'll get to at least the final, and I think we will win it. I don't want to sound cocky or anything, but I think with
Hey,
the quality that we've got.
live in it.
But on the flip side, I'd feel less confident in the Champions League with this squad. I feel
Mm,
like our backup squad's a lot better for Europa League than it is for the Champions League. So it's again next season, maybe a few more signings in the summer. But as for Prem, I think it's also strong enough to, as we're fighting.
yeah.
And like I said to you before, I think it's just between us and yourselves anyway.
Let's go. Well, all right. Let's look at in American sports. We have a term MVP at the end of the season. It's a trophy you give. Usually, it's the most popular player. Yeah. But I would like to use this in an appropriate term. Who is the player that if you pluck them out, and I assume it's going to be Salah, that everything falls apart? Who has been your most valuable player so far this season?
It's a tough one to pick one,
Right?
because like obviously Salah's ridiculous, and like you said, he's been a bit poor recently, but a lot of them have. But he's still got that goal against Palace, like to make it 1-1. So he's still always there. You can get your goals. Van Dijk's been unbelievable again this season. He's gone back to like being a joke, like he was before his
Yeah.
injury. Potentially Allison. Allison has got us a lot of points this season. Especially he makes so many big saves, one-on-ones and stuff like that. I think if it weren't for him, we'd probably have lost a lot more this season than what we've, or got dropped a lot more points
Yes.
anyway.
Yes.
Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Because there's times when we went 1-0 down most of the time. But then he's made big saves, which then could have made it 2-0. And as soon as you go 2-0, it's a lot harder to get a draw or win on that situation. And Fulham the other week was the perfect example. He was injured, Kelleher came in, and there was some goals we conceded there where they were very questionable, and you just think Alisson doesn't struggle there.
Yeah.
So I might go for the rogue one and go Alisson,
Yeah.
for our player of the season so far.
He's class. He is. And I hate that he's been keeping Ederson on the bench for Brazil's team.
Yeah,
I made a prediction at, I think, I want to say it was January this year, that in 18 months, Ederson will take over. Because they're also like similar ages, so there's no real
yeah,
like
yeah.
be like Ederson's a young one, so eventually he's going to take over. If he does, it'll be for like a year or two because he's not much younger, if any. I obviously I just stand by my keeper, but
Yeah,
Allison, when it
yeah.
comes to shot stoppers, you really don't get much better than that asshole.
No.
Like it's fucking son of a bitch. There have been, like you said, so many times he has kept you guys in games with us, or we could have, yeah. Or honestly, he's the reason why we've lost to you guys so many times. And then I'm just glad we got rid of Cancelo. That 1-0 win of you guys at Anfield, that Salah
Oh.
turn on when he just ate up Cancelo, that was when I was officially just overmans. I don't care what he did offensively. He was there's a term I actually call Cancelo cool, because when he comes into tackles, he just there's no like focus. He just does it so cool. He just like throws a foot in, and then the person is just like, "What is this? This is we're professionals," and then they kill him. Hate the man. Oh, good riddance.
Just a bit
Hopefully,
lazy tackles.
yes, just painful. Well, we talked about who would be the MVP. Let's go to the other side of the spectrum. Who would you say that so far this season, their form has been lackluster?
This was another tough one because I thought I was trying to think, and there's some players that I don't know, like playing, and probably wouldn't be in the starting 11 if it weren't for injuries and stuff. But one of the players who I've loved but hasn't been doing that well was I reckon possibly Luis Diaz,
Mm.
which seems a bit harsh because he's went through a lot in the past
Yes.
few months.
Yes.
But he's just not like, especially past few games and stuff. He just doesn't seem to be the player he was before his injury and that. Like he used to, he doesn't really take on defenders and that anymore.
Mm.
Which was one of the things that I
Yes.
loved about him. He'd always get the ball, turn, and just run a defender and use his pace, and the defenders wouldn't. Whereas now he'll run a defender a little bit and then just turn around and pass it back and stuff. And it's like he's definitely the got the potential to do that, of like beating a man, setting up a goal. But yeah, he's been a bit just a bit off it this season,
Mm.
and he's probably the one that I can think of who's not injured and would be probably in the starting 11 anyway. You could say Nunes has been struggling a bit, especially of recent.
Yeah.
But then like early on in the season, he gets those 2 goals against Newcastle. He gets that great goal against West Ham, and he's just chaos
He is.
that everyone loves.
Yes.
But he just needs, if he can just get that goal. I said about Nunes this season. I predicted about over 20 goals for him, and more so if he can just fix his composure, because I think he's got the know-how of like getting in the right positions. It's just as if when he has time to think about it, he doesn't know. He just overthinks and misses.
Yeah.
Whereas the goals like Newcastle, like West Ham, that volley against West Ham just comes quickly, instant, and it's a goal. So if he can, and you can work on composure, that's the other thing. So that's my hope for him to still get loads of goals this season. It's still early,
People, and that's what everyone keeps saying about Diaz. If he can just figure out the finishing, if he can just figure out the finishing, and he's youngish enough to be able to figure out the
Yeah.
finishing, but it seems to be so like everything else is about him attacking wise is great,
Yeah.
and it just kind of hurts your brain where it's just like, why can't you score though?
Especially when it's the easy ones that he misses and then scores the harder ones.
Yes.
And he also needs to learn the offside rule as well, Nunes.
The offside is.
I don't know if anyone's told him the offside rule yet, but they might need to soon.
Well, if they change it to the new style of offside that they keep talking about, that he'll be fine.
Oh, what they have in the Champions League?
Yeah, where it's like the person has to be slightly behind. They have to be like all the way behind the player or something like that.
Okay.
It just gives you like a little inch or two, and half the time with most of our offsides, that's really is. It's just a matter of inches and stuff like that.
It's also stuff when it's like they're offside by like the shoulder. Well, it's up to the sleeve now, isn't it? They class an offside up to like the sleeve,
like the elbow,
and
like someone's doing this.
Yeah.
Just like that's
and they're
nonsense.
They're giving offside for that when they're running through 1-on-1.
Yeah.
They're not gonna tap it in with their arm, are they?
It definitely should be. You would think it would be like chess. because
Yeah.
there's only so much people can like manufacture and adjust with that. Like if you stop, you stop. Yeah, they're definitely getting a little crazy with these lines. Goodness gracious. Let's talk about
Getting
Klopp
Microsoft Paint out.
Jurgen. I
Oh yeah.
actually, before we got Pep, because there was like rumor Jurgen was leaving and we knew we were losing Pellegrini, I was like, okay, I like this Klopp dude. He seems fun, high energy, super intense. I didn't. I was like, yes, bring him. And then he went to Liverpool. And I was like, no, that's not good. That's not good for us. And we see what has happened. Naturally, a year later, we got Pep, and everything has been fantastic. But I say all this to say, I do respect Jurgen. And he's kind of changed. He's become much more. I don't want to say sinister because that seems kind of harsh, but he's definitely embraced the bad guy in his time in the Premier League. How do you feel about your manager?
Oh, love him. Absolutely love him. I feel like he gets bad press because obviously everyone loved him at the start because he was, but then once you're actually going for competitions, all these little things that everyone says he moans at do make a difference. And he was one of the main people to moan about the amount of fixtures, and then everyone's on his back. But then you get the likes of like Pep and
Mm-hmm.
stuff saying the same thing. It's because the amount of fixtures is a lot, and Klopp's come from Germany where they've got a winter break, so he probably sees the effects that having those little breaks, having those breaks do compared to what they do in the Prem. Um, but listen, everyone's gonna. I feel like loads of managers once they start going for things change up. Arteta, for example, everyone's on his back now because of how passionate he is on the
Yes.
sidelines, if we put it that way. Klopp's been passionate on the sideline. Pep is gets passionate on the sideline. They all do. It's a minimum mentality, isn't it? And when you're in the heat of the moment and stuff like that, and then obviously we all talk about the half 12 kickoffs, but when the stats show it, like the how much Liverpool are getting the half 12 and stuff like that, you can see his frustration. Any other team's going to be the exact same. It's just it's it's very hypocritical football. When it's your team, and when it's happening to your team, it's it's everyone against you. But then once it happens, if it's someone else, you're like, oh, they're just moaning for moaning's sake, or what are they moaning at and stuff like that. But
And
yeah, no, what a man.
you have to blame us Yanks for those times. They've made those adjustments for our sleep schedules. Like no joke, the deal on because they're doing a lot of really big things. The Premier League in the USA, they throw all these like fan events all around the US, and Rebecca Lowe and all the people come here, and we bring celebrities. Usually it's like WWE wrestlers like Sheamus and stuff like that because he's a huge
Oh
Liverpool
yeah.
fan. He always comes and sings songs and stuff like that. We have noticed adjustment. I have gotten used to waking up kind of earlier in the mornings. Now they've pushed them and they're like later and later. I don't like that. I've gotten used to like waking up and they bang out all the matches in the morning and we get to do. Now matches are at like noon. It's like I don't have an entire day. I mean, I do have an entire day to watch football, but it's just like I don't have an entire day to watch football, guys. I would like
So what time would it have used to have been? Like if you was to what time would you get up before all these changes to watch the game? Would it
so
be like
because what I've noticed is they just make them a little later in the day. So instead of me, there were certain games where I was waking up at like 4:30, 5 a.m. in the morning if I would have
oh
to.
that's early? But
Yes,
then guess that's all right, isn't it? Having your breakfast and then watching
and that's
watching
exactly
your
what it
team
is.
win and
Yeah,
then
just
going,
get your
what a way to
coffee, your
start the working
breakfast,
day.
you watch it. Yeah, I rant on social media with the friends. Yeah, and then I have the rest of my day to either celebrate a win or wallow in my sadness. But either way, it gives me an excuse to like go out and have fun.
Yeah, yeah. That sounds good.
Yeah,
But yeah, he's Klopp's, but like what he's done is ridiculous. Like, and I know it's it's very touchy subject, money in football.
Yes.
With obviously,
Yes.
um, with obviously everyone against
It's
City
tough to
with
keep
how
up with
much they
City.
spend,
How
and
can
then.
we spin like City? Yeah.
But basically, and like obviously the money that Chelsea have been spent recently and stuff. Well, Chelsea were the first to do it, really, weren't they? And like with Abramovich and stuff. But basically, but what he's done to then build that team and win everything possible. And then when you look at the team that he brought in, what he started with is it's so bad when you look back on it compared to what he's built now and it's mad of like when you think about it as well, the key like first key signings, and obviously everyone says about how much Van Dijk cost, but it's easy to forget that we got to buy Alisson and Van Dijk, we got rid of Coutinho, who was our best player at the time, to then get the money for them, which is a massive gamble. So for them to do that, to go, do you know what, we need to make a team rather than a squad, and that's what he's done. We had when he came in, it was a load of different individuals. Coutinho was unbelievable, but he was he was very selfish, and it
Yes.
was built around him. Whereas then he's brought in a spine of Van Dijk, Alisson, made Henderson really well, Fabinho, Mane, Salah, Bobby, and then yeah, just grew and grew to what we've had, what we've won, what times we've had. I
Speaking,
try not to think about when he's gonna go.
yes. Oh man. Ooh, ooh. Yeah, I was a mess when we lost Company. When Company left, he was the first City shirt I bought for myself. Was 2013-14, I think, Company shirt, and I loved that man. And I knew he had to leave and all that other stuff. I mean, I'm happy he left riding on a horse and
Yeah,
they
yeah.
won and all that stuff. It's great, but yeah, no, losing those key important players, like I won't even think about KDB. Like I, not, We'll face it. Same thing with Pep. Pep has recently hinted that he's staying longer,
Yeah, yeah.
and honestly, and it's funny because he says the same thing. He We will see when we get here, but I love it here. Like that's what he just says every single time. But I love it here. So it's always funny that. Do you think Pep staying longer might make Klopp stay longer?
I was about to say that. Funny enough, a part of me feels like they're both gonna just stay until one of them calls it, and then the other one's probably gonna the next year or something just be like, "That's it now," because they're the ones who are like fighting it out.
Yes.
So then and they both got such respect for each other and stuff like that, and you can see the rival. It's a bit like Wenger Ferguson. I think this
Yes.
this like rivalry, like, but I think there's a bit more mutual like respect
Yeah. No.
between them
Ferguson
both.
was just rude to everybody.
Yeah, yeah, he was, to be fair. Yeah, but he won things, so
Yes.
it's one of them. So yeah, but I do, yeah, I agree with you. I do think the kind of, I think when one goes, all right, it's my, I'm gonna call it a day.
Yeah,
I
no,
think the other one might not be too far off.
I agree. I agree. Uh, have you what? Because you mentioned hopefully bringing something in the winter. Have you heard any rumblings? Is there anyone specific, or it doesn't even have to be specific? What are the positions that you would like to see your squad hopefully bolster in the winter transfer?
So I've not heard any. I think it's usually around the transfer window, like when it's about to start or something. You usually hear it. So I've not heard anything. I remember the last transfer rumour was in the summer was like Calvin Phillips from years, but I just couldn't see that happening. I couldn't see you selling him to us, and I couldn't see us buying him really, to be honest. And plus, he's barely played. Um, but yeah, as far as you said, what would I like? I'd probably go for maybe another midfielder. Um, just for fresh legs and stuff, just to be able to rotate a bit more. We've still got Thiago to come back, but he's been on the missing list for ages. So if he comes back, he's an unbelievable player and it'd be a big boost. But it's how much you can rely on that. And possibly even another right back, maybe. just to for backup for Trent. Gomez has been doing all right at the moment, but yeah, it'd be nice just for a bit more backup, especially if the fact that if he's gonna start coming centre mid more, we definitely need to have a proper right back who's definitely gonna be there.
Yeah, because as a City fan, and if I see Gomez as a right back, even though he did great against Daku, I mean, or whoever he was facing, I just remember Gomez when we played. I was just like, wait, he's doing a lot better than I was
Yeah.
hoping he was. Because I see Gomez and I get very happy. I'm like, yes, yes, food, food, food. Uh, so that you could feel free to just keep that spot for him. If you do have to bolster the position, I understand.
He's very. Do you know what? He's all right, but he can have like he'll get into the rhythm of it, have like 3 4 games, and be like very good, and then but he loses concentration a lot. Is the main issue. So after a few games, it's as if he feels like, all right, well, I'm settled now. Makes a few mistakes, but then the one thing I notice about him is that like, whereas a player like Van Dijk or someone else might make a mistake and then they'll be able to forget about it straight away, carry on, and then just get it going. Whereas Gomez, if he made a mistake in the first 2 minutes, I'd be like, just take him off because you know his head's gone for the rest of the game, and he'll just keep making mistakes, and it will just get progressively worse to the point where it could cost you the goal. That's the only downside to him. So if he could keep his concentration, he is a good defender. I think good backup anyway.
Well, let's end here with this last question. Let's put your let's look in the future, your future focals on. How do you feel about the second half of the season going? Do you see yourselves holding on to those 1-2 spots, maybe winning yourself another league title that you can actually go and celebrate? Or, um, like you said, you're the EL, since I'm struggling to say it, you see yourself getting to the final. Do you see yourself winning that at least? Yeah, let me know how you see the second half of the season go.
Yeah, so I think I think league will be top two. I think it will be between us and yourselves. Um, Part of me, maybe it's more hope. I I feel like we might do it this year. I think yous have just dropped off bit bit much, as into yous will obviously be yous will finish first or second, but I just think the drop off's a bit more than what it has been previous years. Um, I still expect you to go on like a 14 games win streak, but whether or not that's still too late is another thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I'm gonna obviously I could be eating my words come Saturday if we don't beat Arsenal, but especially if we beat Arsenal on Saturday and then we go to Burnley on Boxing Day, if we can get a result there, I think we'll be very very much in the running and potentially winning the league there. As I said, it's early days, but you like to think that it gives you a massive boost. Uh, Europa League, think we'll win it. I think our toughest test would be if we get by Leverkusen in the final, because
Yes,
apparently
because they're
they're
hot right
flying
now.
with Alonso,
Yeah, they're playing great football.
uh,
It's crazy.
who's also a legend as well, Xabi Alonso.
Yes,
Always
yes.
got a place in my heart.
Right. Football writes many beautiful stories that ends up being fate. It would not surprise me if that ends up being the final, which
I know.
that
The
would
only
be
worry
that
is
would be
if they
great.
then bite us on the backside.
Man, that would be a really good story though. I would be there. I would gladly watch
Not
that
the losing
final.
part.
What was that?
Not the losing part. That wouldn't
No,
be a good
no,
story.
no. I could see you guys
For
being
you,
there.
yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. No,
Yeah.
I mean I'm just there to watch. I wouldn't root against anybody. I would just be there for good football.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I'm
I think
not.
we win the. Sorry, go on.
I was gonna say I'm not really the type of person where unless you're playing us, but for the most part, if it's two teams I don't like, I don't go. I hope they lose. I just want to watch good football. The only time I ever root specifically for a team to lose is Barcelona.
Why don't you like
I just don't
Barcelona
like
so much?
Barcelona. I just don't like them.
Ah,
And I understand I Pep and all that other stuff, but I actually didn't even like Pep when he was at Barcelona because he was an asshole. But now he's our asshole, so it's like it's
well, do you know
funny.
what? You're the best. You're the bigger man than me because I'm very bitter. And when it comes to like my rivals, I don't want them winning anything.
And I respect that. I respect that 100% as it should. Yeah, and I know our time is gonna come where City won't win things. I don't know. I'm just trying to enjoy it while I can. We said on our show that this season is vibes, and we're just trying to enjoy. We're treble winners. Whatever we win
Yeah,
this
yeah,
season is whatever we win this season. We have the chance to now win two trophies already this season. That kind of makes you want to keep winning trophies, though. So that's kind of the problem with it.
yeah, yeah,
I I was talking with friends today, and I always hated the either or question because, especially last year, everyone was at, can you win if you had to choose one, Premier League or the Champions League? And I wouldn't play that game. I was like, both. And they were like, no, you got to pick one. I was like, nope, I'm not doing it. We're winning both. Now that we won both, I'm now willing to play this game, Premier League or Champions League. I want Premier League for the 4 years in a row. That has never been done before. That's why I want it. For the world football, for showing your legend, and obviously our as a club, you want to be the world's best team. We should win the
yeah,
Champions League. That's what I should want to win. But I just love those records, and one that has never been done before because half the time we're chasing after Liverpool records, Arsenal records, and it would just be nice for us to be the first to do something.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I get what you mean.
Yeah. Well,
I think
please plug yourself, plug the show, let listeners know how they can hear, see, get a hold of y'all.
yeah. So you can listen to mine and Adam's podcast, the A&J podcast, on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, and then if you want to follow us on X, it is now, isn't it? X, not Twitter, and TikTok at the A&J Pod. Our podcast is basically we talk a bit about footy, so you'll have like I was talking about Liverpool and City, but then we also bring our own topics as well. So like I'll bring a topic of the week, Adam brings a topic of the week, and they'll just differ from like something in the news or something that we find interesting.
Love
But yeah,
it. Yeah. Nice.
but yeah, thanks for letting me
Of,
plug that, and thanks
of
for having me
course.
on.
Of course. We love connecting with people. Like that is our big thing at Shades of Blue. Yes, we're City fans, but it's just more fun to just talk football with everybody. And you'll see it on our social media. We're liking and reposting things from every club, whether it's funny, whether we're making fun of, or we're like bigging up because that's just kind of how it is. So yeah, appreciate you, Shady Gang. Again, let them know you appreciate them. Yes. Ooh, look at you. All right, they liked you. That's nice. And Shady Gang, you know the vibes. Shady Gang, Shady Gang, Shady Gang.